Are you looking for professional broadcasting on a budget? How about broadcast with colorful commentary, guest commentators, and after-race interviews? Do your league branding and social media graphics need a facelift? Custom results and series graphics looking like a fifth grader did them? Event organization taking up way too much of your time? Engage GTC TV and let us help you show the world your events.
Peacey Systems, your dedicated call center partner. We specialize in live customer support as a service, a 24/7 support center, empowering system integrators, operators, and innovators to execute seamlessly at scale, precisely when and where it matters most. Our TaaS model encompasses infrastructure, technology procurement, and comprehensive implementation and lifecycle support. With 3 decades of industry expertise, Peacey Systems leads in collaborative solutions across hospitality, multifamily student housing, and healthcare. As your trusted white label support partner, Peacey Systems operates seamlessly in the background, acting as an extension of your team and brand. Simple pricing and transparent solutions allow us to extend your business reach at scale. Let us accelerate your project execution and provide the service delivery infrastructure to expand your business. Contact Peacey Systems, your call center partner.
Welcome to Origin Micro, your go-to e-commerce superstore for IT hardware and consumer electronics. With over 2 decades of experience, we've earned a reputation for delivering superior customer service and offering top industry brands at competitive prices. We provide a wide range of products from various manufacturers. From notebooks and desktops to networking equipment and VoIP devices, we've got you covered. Our fully stocked warehouse ensures that you'll find the products you need when you need them. And with our expert team always ready to offer personalized support, you can trust Origin Micro for all your IT needs. Origin Micro, your IT e-commerce superstore, serious deals, superior service.
And hello and welcome everyone to round 5 of the GT Champions Mustang Challenge. We're here at Miami International Autodrome today for round 5 as we go into the second half of the season. Should be a spicy one today, a little bit of weather around the track. It should be a very exciting race. My name is Oscar Brown. I'll be your lead commentator for today's race. Unfortunately, Chris could not be here. Alongside me, pressing all the buttons and doing all the fun stuff, will be Pix. How are you going today, Pix?
Hi, Oscar. Hello, everyone. Doing good?
Good to hear. And then, of course, we got Etienne Benezera, of course, our executive producer. And as I said, today we are taking a track around this Hard Rock Stadium in Miami, Florida, built around of course, the NFL stadium home to the Miami Dolphins. Very new track, lots of fast sweeping corners, the long 1.2 kilometer straight. Drivers will be getting up to some fast speeds, but also heavy on the brakes today. Of course, the length of this track is 5.412 kilometers or 3.6 miles with 19 turns, with the Mustang GT3 lap record being a 151.916 by Julian Besterfield, which was set last season. So we'll see if anyone can get up to that pace today. And of course, the main car for this race, the only car for this race, the Ford Mustang GT3, that beautiful 5.4 litre naturally aspirated V8, the 6-speed transmission with over 500 horsepower there, with and that thing will be going very, very fast today. As I said, 260 kilometers an hour on that back straight. It should be making one hell of a noise. That's for sure. And of course, we have a look at our championship standings now as we move into the second half of this season, with Eduardo Escotto taking the top step at the moment on 130 points, closely followed behind though by Josh Higgy, just 15 points behind him. And then in the third to round out that podium, we have David Griffin, with Pablo Jaquire in fourth. Of course, then Samuel Cruz in fifth, with Tannen Patterson in sixth. Seventh, Christopher Romeo on 83 points. Sorry, Romero. And then eighth, we have Timothy Thorane. With ninth, we have Billy J. Sigmon. 10th, we have Michael Piccanini on 77 points.
Yeah, and as always, thank you to Origin Micro for their support, our main sponsor of the league. If you need any equipment for any kind of business, these guys can help. But specifically, you are looking for stuff about networks and all of that stuff. These are your guys. And as well, thank you to Peacey Systems. These guys you need to look for if you need to have a call center. So Origin Micro will help you get all the equipment. Peacey Systems will set it up for you if you need a call center, including all of the people that will help you answer the phone and all of that stuff. And finally, iCoaching. They have new service for setups, and they're doing a really cool job of having setups for all those series that you are specifically looking for: TCR, IndyCar, NXT, all of those. And they will launch a new service next week, so have a look at their socials, iCoaching.co, and their website. And we are really thankful to them for sponsoring our NXT series, with which they provided all the setups for the 8 rounds, and the guys really love them. They have also coaching sessions, both for rookies and people who have a little bit more experience, and they will also bring new different kinds of coaching services. So keep an eye out for what iCoaching is doing, and thank you for their support. And Oscar, we have some really good news, because this is what's coming up next for our Saturday mornings.
We do indeed. This one's a very interesting one, folks, and I cannot wait for this. So yeah, I'm very happy to announce the GT Champions International GT Series, which will be the Saturday morning time slot, so 12 p.m. Eastern, with 5 p.m. for UTC. Those will be race starts. It's going to be GT3s and GTPs ripping it around tracks for about 70 minutes, 9 rounds, and as always, drivers will have their chance to win their GT Champions winners coins, but as well as that, they will have their very own chance at winning a $50 cash prize, which will possibly go up to $100 if there are enough sign-ups and registrations to each race. Sign-ups are also free, although there is an optional $3 donation if you wish to do so, which helps cover the costs and all of that. But yeah, looking pretty exciting for that one. Of course, pre-season is Laguna Seca on April 11th. Not all those dates are set in stone just yet, but some very interesting tracks on there. And me personally, I can't wait for Le Mans round 1. That will be very interesting.
Yeah. And excited because we've been trying to create everything towards this kind of racing, and now that we've gotten here, we've tried to get some sponsors, and they've decided to support the series, and also with the support of the people, we can upgrade the price, and people have already started donating. So even if we made it optional, people are showing their support. So we're really grateful for that.
100%, and that's the sort of community here at GTC, of course. And if you are interested in joining that one, head over to gtchampions.com and events to have a look at that on how to sign up and joining the Discord server. And we'll switch back over to today's race, though. Looking at the weather today, as I said, there's a little bit of weather around today. That 99% humidity looking very dooming. 82 degrees Fahrenheit out there today. A little bit of overcast conditions with that 11-mile-an-hour wind, as qualifying has now finished, and we go for the formation lap.
Yeah, I think Chris set this one to have realistic weather, so looks like it's not very sunny in Florida today.
It is not sunny in Florida today, no.
Maybe in Philadelphia, but not in Florida.
Yep. It definitely is very sunny over in Australia at the moment. So
okay, that's
very
nice.
This. We see all the drivers get out for their formation lap, weaving those cars, trying to generate some tire temperature in these conditions, these foggy conditions, not much sun around, all those headlights beaming down the track. And I have to say, that might be the best pace car I've ever seen. It's a very nice safety car.
Yeah.
Ford. I like what you've done there. And then, as we see here as well, lining up on the front row is Higi and Escoto, which will be an interesting one there for this race, being the two front runners of the championship so far. And of course, this track was built around the Miami Dolphins home stadium, the Hard Rock Stadium. I don't know if there's many. You watch much NFL picks?
Yeah, particularly the Steelers. Not every team, but yeah, I do follow the league.
Yeah, it was a pretty good year last year. I'm more of a Buffalo Bills guy. So
okay.
I'm on enemy territory.
Yeah. I guess.
Which is funny. But yeah, it's a very new track, this one, and the first race was in 2022, of course, won by none other than Max Verstappen. But kind of an interesting one, being such a new track, is it was all done, planning and all that, electronically, not like you do back in the day. You'd go out there and have a look, likes of Willow Springs and Sebring. It was all very electronically done, simulated, and they actually came up with about 30 different track layouts before deciding on this one.
So they basically drew it on Google Maps.
Yeah, pretty much. All through computer systems and trying to find the best layout as we see them go through the favorite bit of the track. Most complicated bit of the track there in the final few sectors before the straights. That tight chicane with the walls close, but what's so good about this track is it's got a lot of good combinations. It's got the long straights, which we're seeing going down now to high speeds of about 260 kph, but it's also got those long sweeping corners of the first sector where you need that downforce, you need the trust in the car, and then of course that final little bit of the track where the walls are close, and drivers will be using every little bit of racetrack that they get given. And then we'll see them race around there for the next hour. So it should be a very interesting race as we come up to the green flag.
Yeah, I don't think I've raced in this track here or in the F1 game or anything. This is new to me.
Yep, same here. As we see the pace car go off now, and we wait for the leader to go, wait for the green flag in the air, and any second now. There it is, green flag in the air for the 1 hour race. Round 5 of the Mustang Challenge. Everyone going nice and wide using all the track available to them. There's a bit of jostling in the back there. Drivers trying to find position. There's a dive down the inside there. And a little bit of door bang and a spin back in the back of the pack there. Unfortunate, but everyone is still tightly packed together here. It will be an interesting lap 1 as everyone's struggling to get those tyres up to temp before they make any moves. So and some of them capitalizing on those colder temps here today as well. So we go into the long left-hander of turn 8 there now, onto the straight, and the 57 car there is looking very spicy. Of course, Josh Higgy in second place now, with Jaquai getting up into first for that move into turn 1. We go too wide down into the last few sectors of the track. And it's a move down the inside by Eduardo, and he's just cleared him there before getting into the tight section of the track. Very well done there. Don't want to leave it too late and get caught out by the walls. And look at this. Just if it couldn't get even more spicy after lap 1, let's throw some rain in there, folks. It is, it's all happening now.
Wow.
They tear down that straight. And the rain is slowly starting to fall. Will it be heavy enough? Will it be long enough to become very difficult for these drivers? It will for sure make it more difficult to warm up these tyres though, which they dearly need. So we see a little bit jostling in the back there. Everyone's staying single file into the heavy braking zone that is turn 17, of course. And that's lap 1 done. With that rain now falling on the main straight, the umbrellas are out. I don't know. What I love about the series, to be honest, is just seeing all those Mustangs rip down that straight at Mach 2, you know, going fast, and the noise they make too is just amazing. As we go on board here with David Griffin. We see him try and navigate around this track with cold temps and rain falling from the sky on these cold slick tires. It's not going to be easy for them here. I think the main thing about this track is carrying that speed through the corners. You want to get that power down early, but you don't want to get it down too early, because you got to remember it is a street circuit around here. It is a temporary street circuit in Miami. And it is very easy to get on the power too early and hit the wall, which is not ideal. So we still see you could put a blanket over these top 4 here as as Higi's now starting to close up to Jaquai now. And we see that Pablo going a little bit off track, and looks like Higi's going to get a good benefit out of this onto the back straight. He's got 1.2 kilometers of tarmac to his advantage here as they scream up to 260 kilometers an hour. Let's see if he can get a move done. He's just alongside him there. A little bit of side draft there as we see pull further alongside and heavy on the brakes into turn 17. And looks like Higi's not going to be too worried about getting that move done too quickly. But we see it again. He's too wide down to the main straight. Across the start-finish line, and Higi will be still side-by-side into turn 1 here. Who can break latest is a little bit of door banging. Is still too wide through turn 1. They're going to bring it to turn 2, turn 3. Sling it around these corners, doing a very good job of keeping it too wide around here in these conditions. Windscreen wipers on, and it's just some amazing battling going on here. And of course, Escoto is probably looking at this thinking 2 free positions upcoming as we see him get very close to his diffuser and just going a little bit wide. Maybe those track conditions starting to get a little bit slippery as we see them go through turn 7 into turn 8 onto that straight now. And if there's one bit of the track that will become extremely hard in these conditions, it is right there in that tight and long left-hander. And all of a sudden this has gotten extremely spicy with some close action here. And Chikwai is probably going to give it his best shot of trying to run away now. So we see Higi go down the inside, and the 57 car there going a little bit wide as well. And look at this, all these top 5 cars, top 6 cars separated by absolutely no margin. Bumper to bumper as we go down the main straight. We'll see some moves here, I think. Drivers waiting to get a good exit onto that long back straight. So we see a few puddles starting to form, a little bit of damp patches here and there. And there's a spin in the background. Oh, someone back there. I think it might have been Nicholson. Yep, just that wet track I was talking about getting a little bit damp now. Is everyone keeping it single file apart from back there? A little too wide action. But yeah, the rain is definitely starting to fall a little bit harder now as we see some people dive into the pits, taking their gamble on the wet tires here. And of course, there is one mandatory pit stop, so drivers trying to get that out of the way and dive onto these wet tires possibly. It is definitely falling a lot harder now. It's just a question of how long will it stay around for. But still, that battle at the front looking very close. So we see them 3 cars dive into the pits so far for their mandatory pit stop, and I think it'll be a good show of strategy this race, with drivers staying out to try and just wait off the wet conditions here. As we see it so hard through turn 7 there, just Pablo just going wide and just can't get it turned around. It's extremely hard to keep it on track here at the moment. As we see that spray being kicked up by these beasts of a machine down into turn 11. Screen wipers going. And there's a big slide there out of turn 11 for both Romero and
so slow, so slow now.
Yeah, they are tiptoeing around this track and a little bit of contact on the wall. They are aquaplaning everywhere. Just trying to tiptoe around this track, wait out the rain, or a big snap of oversteer out of the corner as well. Wow. As we see Josh Higi in the background, possibly making a move here on Romero down into turn 17. He's gonna have to be brave on the brake in these conditions. So we see the amount of spray being kicked up by these cars, and there goes Higi into turn 17. Will Romero get the undercut? Doesn't look like it. He might, as we see a few more people diving into the pit lane. Oh, and a big snap of oversteer from Christopher Romero. What a save. And now we're going to go 2, maybe 3 wide into turn 1 now after that. And that was some save by Romero, as we see both cars just understeer off track. These conditions are now extremely hard. And another spin there. It's going to be a battle of who can tiptoe around this the safest, or who can get the strategy right. Will the rain stay around long enough for wet tires to become a need instead of a want? We see Josh Higi now 2 seconds up on everyone else. It is looking like we're watching these cars in slow motion right now, trying to tiptoe around these treacherous parts of the racetrack. And that's the thing about this track as well, is there's not a lot of elevation change, so once those puddles start forming, there's not a whole lot of places they'll go. It does also mean, though, you don't generally get those lakes forming like you do up a Rouge, which is always fun. Around Spas, we see these cars going right to the wall and scraping along the wall there now. All these drivers just trying their best to keep it on track here, as we see Josh Higi off track there. our race leader, and it just shows that even with someone with the experience of Josh Higgy and Christopher Romero having another outing, unfortunately, there with the wall, just shows no matter the experience, this truck is extremely hard to race on right now. And the amount of power these Mustangs have shows it as well, as they try and get on throttle and the rears just leave. The rears overtake the fronts, and Ericsson's done a very good job of keeping that in a straight line, as that spray is just increasing lap by lap here, and that is already 10 minutes gone. That might be the most chaotic 10 minutes, as we see Ericsson not being able to get that car stopped in time, and now he's in a very precarious situation. The lead is safe from no one in these conditions at the moment. I think we might be breaking a record for the amount of lead changes soon. So we see more people dive into the pits. Billy Sigmund deciding, yep, it's time. I've had enough of these slick tires. Trying to chuck some more tread on these tires, as it is getting extremely hard around this track. You see Christopher Romero there now. And all of a sudden, Josh Higgy is once again back in the lead with a 5-second gap.
Yeah.
After dropping down to third last lap. So yeah, it just shows that these conditions are extremely hard and anything can happen. Yes. He is just really tiptoeing, just struggling, just trying to get around this track. And you can see that just by how... And just look at that, just aquaplaning right out of turn 7 there. That car was going a good bit under 100 k's an hour there, and he just could not get it stopped. All tires locking up and just aquaplaning straight on at turn 8. And he's managed to do well by keeping that out of a wall, but just like that, Romero's back in the lead. And we can definitely start to see those puddles starting to form now, which will be another tricky obstacle for these drivers to navigate. As well as the spray, we can see back there's a pack of 3 cars that are all going to be hampered by the spray there, as we see someone go wide, and then it's Eduardo Escoto that's going to be the beneficiary out of that one, taking a position as we see a little bit more of action up front, and this is all closing up now as we get down to the back straight, which will be extremely interesting here to see if we get any moves done. And all those cars just being extremely careful on exit there. Just taking their time. I checked the forecast for the race today, and I saw the chance of rain, and I knew it was going to be an interesting one, and it did not disappoint. So we see that spray there in front of Eduardo Escoto. It's just so hard to see. So hard to pick your braking markers, especially when they're changing lap to lap in these conditions on these tires. So we see the 21 car just getting sideways out of exit there, and they're on the brakes through turn 19 there, which just shows how hard it is to drive at the moment. And look at all this. Look at the pack of cars here. There's a little bit of contact, but he's managed to keep it on track in a straight line. Oh, it is absolutely treacherous right now.
All right, so top 3 in wets now.
Yeah, and all these drivers are in wet tires, mind you, which shows even in these conditions in wet tires, it is still difficult to drive. So we see Griffin getting absolutely sideways into turn 1. Maybe you got a little bit onto the curb there, but most drivers are sticking to these wet tires now. The only ones that aren't is Christopher Romero down in 5th, and then 6th and 7th as well on dry tires. Looks like Ericsson's now in the pits as well to chuck those wet tires on now. But yeah, it is a very, very spicy race so far. And that amount of spray is just increasing and increasing as this rain continues to form. There may be big cars, but not big enough to clear all of this water from the track while this rain's still falling. But it does look like the rain is starting to slow down a little bit, but the state this track's in is going to be... It will be interesting to see if there is a crossover. If that dry line starts to form, is that dry tire going to be quicker at some stage in this race if this rain goes away? But Escotto and Cruz, of course, on the wet tires, looking a little bit more comfortable than those on dry tires, believe it or not. So they start to pull that gap away from Griffin now. And has definitely spread that field out now. The drivers pitting at different times, and we see their Cruz going straight on, and also David Griffin going straight on now too. Oh, that is extremely unlucky there, and it just really does show how hard it is to brake in these cars, even on wet tires in these conditions. They are trying to go from 250, 260 kilometers an hour down to that 50 kph in the span of about 200 meters. It is not easy in these conditions, as we see time and time again as he gets a little bit onto the curb and is fighting those cars. But look at the focus on David's face at the moment. He is the Iceman. The rain does not faze him. The focus is extremely locked in right now. As he makes his way around the track and fighting that car every corner. Every bit of racetrack, he is fighting the life out of it, trying to gain some time while being safe in these conditions. We still see those three drivers near the back end and halfway through the field, all on dry tires there. There goes Christopher Romero, a little bit off track, and he's sliding it, and he's managed to save it. Oh my goodness. What a save by Christopher Romero there. It is, we're going to need to make a compilation out of these at some point. The amount of amazing saves we've seen there, and that one was into turn 4 and 5 with all that tarmac given to them. So, had it been a different part of the track, he could have very well been in the wall there, but a very good job to save that car from spinning. And I've never driven the Mustang. I actually don't own it. But it does look like a bit of a loosey-goosey car. Especially in these conditions. And that spray still increasing, but it does look like the sun has come out now and this rain is starting to go away. And as we see on the back straight there, it doesn't actually look like the rain is falling anymore. So we'll see if that dry tire switchover comes into play near the back end of this race. I don't think it will be anytime soon, but once that dry line starts forming and it gets easier to drive, we'll see if drivers decide to take their gambles on it. So we see Eduardo Escotto at the front with that massive 8-second lead there. Trying to just keep it on track, keep it going, but then also keep that pace up, and his pace is looking fairly good at the moment. About 3 to 4 seconds faster than Samuel Cruz's last lap. So he'll try and repeat that one again this time. But yeah, we can definitely see that the track is, even through this turn 8 and turn 7 there, where it is extremely tricky in those wet conditions, it is just starting to dry up a little bit with that rain now not falling. The windscreen wipers are being turned off by Escotto now, and he's looking to the track ahead and just chucking down those lap times now, trying to run away from Cruz even further. Sweet. Watch him there, and it doesn't, from this angle, it doesn't look too bad there, but then you head into that corner there after turn 11 and you see the puddles on the ground, you see how slick and greasy the track is as we go up this section here of the walls and chicane. And it's so hard to see in the Mustang as well, having that very high hood through there. The visibility is not great through that section of the track compared to some other cars. But he has managed to navigate it quite well there. So we head down the main straight on board with him now. He does manage to get it stopped this time. And that is the main goal for these drivers. Is it's getting a little bit easier to get on throttle now, but still just braking and trying to stay off those curbs, especially in the turn 1. So we see Samuel Cruz getting a little bit of pressure from Divine behind. So we'll see if Brandon can do anything here into turn 1. It looks like he might be a little bit too far back. But anything can happen in these conditions as we see him get a really good entry into turn 1, a really good exit, carrying a lot of speed through those first few corners. As we head down towards turn 7 now with Ericsson and Higgy. And Higgy still trying to battle it out on those dry tires. Now, I do think he will benefit from it at some point, but not at the moment. The track is still fairly wet at the moment, but the rain is no longer falling, so if he can stay out of those puddles like he's doing there behind now, and to let the others clear the racetrack, clear that water from the track, he might benefit from the end, but that is a very big gap up to the top of the race. Even from Cruz to Escoto with that 8-second gap that he's pulled out. And it will be very hard for Josh Higgy making it around this racetrack as we see him understeer into the wall, just the aquaplane into the wall. Nothing he could do about it, and the car just did not want to steer, and look at him trying to chuck it in. Look at those tires. Just zero grip out there. He tries to get on those tires, on throttle, and the tires just do not grip, especially off track there, and when it's wet, these slick tires do not want to grip as we see Escoto closing in on Higgy now to lap him. Now, Higgy will need, those drivers will need to pit still for their one mandatory pit, which it looks like Romero might have just done. But all these drivers on wet tires have cleared their one mandatory pit stop for this race. Whether or not they'll need to change again onto dries because the track dries off, we'll see. But that spray is definitely getting a little bit less as we see Escoto now going past, I believe, what is Higgy. Oh, actually, apologies. I believe that's Romero. And then we got a few more lap cars ahead of Escoto going into turn 7 and 8 now. So we'll see what unfolds here as we try and get past these lap cars, which I'm sure will not make it too difficult for him, considering they are all on dry tires and trying to play their own strategy at the moment. Listen to the sound of that car as he closes in at a great rate of knots there into turn 11. The speed difference just shows how much those cars on dry tires are struggling at the moment. Having to brake a lot earlier as well there into turn 11 as we go through this tight section of the track. But yeah, the field is quite spread out now after that section of rain and being extremely hard to keep those cars on track as we have a look at Brandon Devine now, who's going to have who's going to be the next to try and pass some of these lap cars, and he's caught them in a little bit of a tricky spot as we see someone in the wall there. That's David Griffin at turn 11, and he is on wet tires, mind you, as well. So it does show that it's still wet and still tricky in these conditions. Just trying to pass that lapped car, he goes a little bit deep and then probably just gasses it a little bit too much. Yep, a little bit too much accelerator on exit there, and then has to reverse in the middle of the track there. Very tricky spot to spin and get out of there. But he's done well to get it turned around, but it is extremely tricky around this racetrack right now as we see even drivers with the wet tires struggling. But Brandon Devine now up into third place onto the podium, which will be a very nice points haul for him if he can get that finished. But we still have 35 minutes left in this race, and gotta say, with these conditions picks, anything can happen.
Yeah. Yeah, and the sun was starting to come out, but I don't think I see the sun anymore.
No, I don't think I do either. It looks like those clouds have come back over, but at least for the driver's sake, that rain doesn't look like it's falling anymore. So we see that overcast conditions with 15-mile-an-hour wind, and depending on where that wind is coming from, it's going to make it 10 times harder for these drivers into certain corners as well, with the way the track is at the moment. It looks like that wind's coming from the north there. So make it a bit difficult into those heavy braking areas, and just making that car a little bit more unstable. So we see them go down straight now. Christopher Romero getting a little bit loose on exit there.
Yeah, and Josh
Higgy,
he stopped for wets, yeah.
Yep, Josh Higgy, who has decided it is time to get rid of those dry tyres and knock on some wet tyres. Maybe a little bit too late, but better late than never. Because this track is extremely hard on dry tyres, as we've seen, so he's going to try and make up some positions now. Of course, having two drivers ahead of him on those slick tyres still. And we can just see the difference on those wet tyres, just see how much more comfortable he is in that car now, and just even gaining a good few seconds in those last few corners onto Romero. So it is definitely a big advantage for anyone on wet tyres right now. Definitely the way to go. It astounds me how they all made it through those sections of the track so much in those conditions, especially in these cars. He tears down that main straight now. Sights set on Romero, who we can see there now, the spray from that car. He's got his sights set on now, and we'll see. We'll wonder if those two cars in front of him have seen that pace that he's got now and maybe decided, yeah, it is time for us to pit as well. But they might also just decide that it's probably a little bit too late to pit now, and they might just be trying to stick it out on these dry tyres and wait for it to dry up. As we see that sun starting to peek out a little bit again, which will give those drivers on dry tyres a glimpse of hope, as we see Romero not giving up too much of a fight there, knowing that that's not really his battle at the moment with the difference of tyres. We still do definitely have a good bit of battles around on track, but another person I'll look at is Billy Sigmund, who is our AM class leader at the moment by a monster 23 seconds. That is a very big lead for him as he powers through down towards turn 11. So he's doing a very good job so far, keeping it on track. And as we roll up to the halfway point, we'll see if he can do it for another half an hour and secure that AM class win, which will give him a very nice points haul over Tanner Patterson, of course, who is not here today. And those drivers only being separated, of course, by, I think it was about 7 points. So if he can get this car finished across the line in first, he will be in a very good spot for this AM Class Championship. Going into round 6, as we see David Griffin going off a little bit. That car is looking a little bit worse for wear now, as it's been in the wars with this wet weather. But keeping it out on track and keeping it going. Of course, that's what you have to do in these conditions. You just got to keep going, because there is no one out here today that has not made a mistake. So it's just about who can minimize those mistakes and make the most of others' mistakes. So that's what these top 4 have done so well. Getting that strategy right, pitting when they need to, and trying to stay out of the wall Josh Heagy now also passed Jaquire. So he is now up into 8th place and 5th in class. And Cruz still in second here as Escotto is still slowly pulling away from him ever so slightly, but he was a little bit faster than him last lap by about 0.2 of a second, so we'll see. And of course, anything can happen. All it takes is one little mistake from Escotto or Cruz, and then Divine's up in there as well, and anything can happen, especially with a very long time left in this race with half an hour to go. So we see him running right to the edge of the wall there, onto the straight, trying to maximize his exit out of there. And of course, if you like the action you're seeing, we do have the International GT Series coming up in April with round 1 at Le Mans. So if you're enjoying this GTP, GT3 action, of course the $50 cash prize and free entry with a $3 donation optional as well, which we've seen a lot of people do so far to help out with that prize cost, which is much appreciated as well. So if you want to take part in that series, it's the Saturday time slot, 12 p.m. Eastern race start. Head over to gtchampions.com and go over to the events on the website there and have a look. And I'm looking extremely forward to that series. Round 1 in Le Mans should be very exciting. We see Brandon Devine in the 3rd place there, rounding out the podium so far. He's in a very nice bubble here at the moment. 11 seconds behind and 16 seconds in front, so he will just be racing his race, trying to keep it clean, waiting for someone to make a mistake here. And we've seen once again, Cruz, once again last lap, about 3 tenths of a second quicker than Escotto there, so we'll see if he can do something. He is 8.3 seconds back, but still a long time left in this race. As we take it through the wonderful last sector of the track. He's sliding it around those corners now. Going to try and maximize the exit onto that long straight. Right to the wall. See those puddles still there, but most of them going off the track at the moment. Not many puddles left on the racing line, as all these drivers have been tearing around here for the last half an hour, clearing all those wet patches of the track. And there is Cruz looming in the background there. Eyes set on the target. He'll see his target and he knows that's what he's going to aim for. So that will be a little bit of motivation for him, I'm sure. Let's be right on board here now with Eduardo. Braking just after that 150, just before the 100, trying to get it turned into that apex. And then on throttle here quickly, and a good lift in these conditions through turn 3 and 4. 2 and 3. So you have the short straight down to turn 4, heavy on the brakes at the 50 board. And then you've got to use all the track given to you around here. You've got all that tarmac to use, but it's probably a little bit slippery in these conditions, as we can see there. The Scott is staying well away from the blue stuff there. Taking it nice and wide for that double apex of turns 7 and 8. A long left-hander. And you have a little bit of a rest before going into the extremely tight section with the walls and curbs everywhere. And this is also another tricky braking area, because you brake not really in a straight line. You have to swing it around a little bit to get it turned into the apex for that turn 11 area. And then we head up to the famous section here with the chicanes and the infamous section of the Lego car crash before the F1 race. And then early on the accelerator here down the straight for 1.2 kilometers, and look at that. Cruz has slowly caught up. Well, I say slowly, he's taken about a second out of him this lap. He was 9/10 quicker last lap, and he's showing it once again here, so he's definitely putting that pedal down and making some gains on Escotto, and I think we might see a little bit of a battle coming here soon as we see Escotto catching up to some of the back markers. Believe that is Romero on the dry tires, so I don't believe it will be too much of a trouble for Escotto to get past him. But at some point, I do think those dry tires will become quicker. It will be difficult because you have to stay on that dry line, but at some point I do think it will be a benefit. So we see Eduardo now go around the outside there, making very light work of it, but even then, Cruz now 6.3 seconds behind as we see him scream out of that corner there now. Eyes on the prize. Cruz does not want to give this one up. While sitting in 5th position for the championship, this will be a very, very good points haul for him, but he wants more. He wants that 1st position, and you cannot blame him. Look at him using all that track. He's got some good confidence in that car at the moment. And I do see that Eduardo just a little bit quicker than him in the fastest lap times, but even that last lap we see there now, a good full second quicker than him. He is definitely gaining on him now. And he'll try and pass this lap car extremely quickly, which he does so there. And I believe that is Romero there in the lap car, yes. Who is still trying to struggle on those dry tires, but it is looking a little bit less treacherous out there on those dry tires for them now, so it is starting to get a little bit better as we see Samuel Cruz really pushing to catch up to Escotto there, sliding all the way to the wall as Eduardo gets past another lap car there. Cruz is definitely starting to close that gap. He does look visibly closer on the straight now than he was before. And there goes Eduardo down the main straight now. And there is Cruz. And we'll see what the lap times look like this time by. And yeah, once again, Cruz is more than a second faster that time by, so might get held up a little bit here, but he's done a very good job of getting out of the way there and letting Cruz go. And Cruz is a man on the mission at the moment. Definitely starting to catch up there now. About that gap around 6 seconds now. And just look at those deltas each lap. 0.3 of a second, 0.9 of a second, and then 2 laps in a row above a second gained. So Cruz is really pushing that car to the limit now, as we saw him on the exit of turn 16, running it right to the wall of that 1.2 kilometer straight. But there's still a good amount of spray getting kicked up, so I don't know if we will see that dry turnover, the dry crossover, but we will see. So we see Pablo there now in 9th position there. That car is definitely looking a little bit banged up, but this is one of our drivers on dry tires, so it doesn't look as bad as it was before. So we see Christopher Romero as well, also on the dry tires. So, being caught by Brandon Devine now. But it does look a little bit better on those dry tires now than it was before. Still not as quick as the wets, but that sun is really glaring down now. But seeing that proper Florida Miami sun beaming down onto the track. And that spray is starting to decrease now. It's still going to be hard for these drivers on dry tires, but I don't think it's too far off, and we can see there now, unlike before, the wet tyres don't have it in them to overtake on raw pace now, which we saw happen a lot before when it was really treacherous. Even in the straight line, those wet tyres were a lot quicker because they had the grip. But we saw there actually Romero having to let him through there because the dry tyres were quicker in a straight line, which you would expect, but they weren't earlier on. So even it's good signs for the dry tyres, for users on the dry tyres. So be interesting to see that crossover point with 20 minutes to go. And then back to Samuel Cruz now, who was, for the first time in many laps, actually a tenth slower than him, tenth slower than Escotto last lap, but doesn't matter because that gap is still around 5.3 seconds now. So as we see there now, Escotto was about 1.5 tenths quicker than him last lap, and we'll see what the delta's looking like at the end of this lap, because I have a feeling that Escotto might be a bit quicker again this lap, as it looks like that gap is getting stretched back out to about 6 seconds. We'll see, anything can happen in these last few sections of the track. We see that delta just drop again between the cars, 5.5 seconds now. But he does look a lot closer than he has been previously now. Can very easily see Escotto in front of him. And then I think strategy will become a play as well, because if it does become dry enough, if that dry line starts to form, will be interesting to see when they pit. I think Cruz is in a good position for that, because if he sees Escotto pit, he'll dive in as well. Escotto's almost like he's a bit of a pioneer at the moment, just trying to the lead runner, and anything he does can make or break his race at the moment. So while Cruz may be 5 seconds back, I'd much rather to be in his position right now, as we see once again a second quicker than him on that last lap. That gap now down to 4.5 seconds. That is the lowest we have seen it in a long time now for that Mustang. For the Fendi Racing Mustang there, as we head down that back straight now towards turn 11. And that seems to be where this car is extremely strong. Samuel Cruz is extremely strong through this next section here. We've seen the last few times. That gap being at about where it is now, but then dropping back down to that 4.5 seconds through this section, as we see Billy Sigmund dive into the pits. Will this be our first adventurer onto the dry tyres? And look how wet it is in pit lane there. It is extremely wet. And he is up onto the jack, so he's taking tyres, and look at that. It has switched over to dry, so Billy Sigmund's gone. I was just about to say Billy Sigmund's gone, what have I got to lose? But he does have a race to lose on this, so we'll see if it turns out in the right way for him. It's a bold move by him, but up on the jacks and then quickly down again. And this is a very interesting pull from Billy Sigmund, but I do believe it might pay off soon. Might not pay off immediately, but if he can keep it on track and keep those tyres going, get some tyre temp into them, it's going to be extremely hard for these next few laps, but once you get some tyre temp into it, and that track definitely does look like it's starting to dry off, he will benefit from that, I'm sure. And now everyone will see that he has switched on to dries, and they'll be monitoring his lap times, and there he goes into the wall. Oh, the dry tyres still just hard to drive on this track, especially what I said with those cold tyre temps that he'll be experiencing at the moment. Well, Chris Ball may not be here physically, but he is here in spirit, telling us to like and subscribe, so if you're enjoying what you're seeing and want to be notified from all the action and new videos that come out and streams, especially for the upcoming season on the Saturday morning, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button, as it helps a lot as we see Billy Sigmund go a little bit wide there again into turn 11. It is so difficult to drive this Mustang on slick tires around this wet track right now. And then Gilles Villeneuve trying to make an appearance as well. I saw his head pop up on the bottom of the screen. I was like, wait a second. I know who that is. It's not Chris, it's Gilles Villeneuve. But yeah, Billy Sigmund really fighting that car. Which is unfortunate for him, as he was doing so well in the lead there, but you can't blame him. Sometimes you got to make those bold choices, and it still might work out, as we have a look at David Griffin here going wide, and then maybe getting on the gas a little bit too much through here, possibly. Or have a look. Going down that main straight. Oh, just going wide a little bit. And then, yeah, that gap's still coming down. Folks, we are in for a hell of a race finish here if Cruz can keep bringing that gap down. We have completed 22 laps, 47 minutes gone now, 13 to come. And Samuel Cruz is a man on the mission, so do not leave your chair, your couch, wherever you're watching this from, because it is going to get a very, very exciting race very soon. As we see Escoto trying to navigate some lap traffic, which he's having a little bit of trouble with. And now that gap is plummeted, down to 2.8 seconds now. So we'll see him come around that corner any second, as we see there. Samuel Cruz lurking in the background, 2.8 seconds, 2.9. And Escoto's still unable to get past this back marker now. He does so as soon as I say that. But it's not going to be easy for him. As we see back marker drifting a little bit wide there. But now Cruz is going to have to get past him by that 2.5 second gap. Looking very promising for Cruz here, as he'll try and get past this back marker on the straight now. But he does look a little bit too far back to get that move done. However, we do look at those deltas once again and have a look at that. 0.8, 0.4, and then 1 whole second gained. And here comes Samuel Cruz up on back of that lapped car now. This track is definitely drying off now. You can see that spray. It's not a whole lot of spray anymore. Just monitoring those lap times from those guys on dry tires. Still considerably slower, but at some point I think they will switch over. You see Cruz really wanting to get past this lap car, but that gap is still 2.3 seconds to get really close to the bumper there. Trying to make his way round onto the straight. And he does so get past on the run down to turn 11 now. And now he has a clear sight set on Escoto now. But he's not going to make it easy for him to get past here, as we go too wide down towards turn 11. I do not think Cruz will be very happy about that one. He's really wanting to get past. So he goes down the inside there. And 10 minutes left. He's finally gotten past him there now. And now he can set his sights forward towards Escoto. Losing a little bit of time there, about 0.8 of a second, which he won't be too happy with, but we know he's got the sheer pace for it, so we'll see what he can do.
Yeah, Samuel lost almost a second in that little battle with Billy.
Yeah, and then, but he does have clear track in front of him now. Clear sights onto Eduardo Escoto. Still just that rear kicking out a little bit there as he turns it through turn 19. But still just having a look at those lap times from those guys on dry tires, and it still doesn't look like they're up to scratch yet. But Billy Signal did just set a 2:13, which is about 4 seconds off the pace, well, 3 seconds off the pace, but that is the fastest lap we've seen from dry tires so far. So they are getting quicker at the moment. And look at this gap, 2 seconds. Samuel Cruz does not concern himself that he got held up by a back marker, because he knows he has got that raw pace over Escoto. Just look at that. And I think he's got a lot of confidence in that car as well in these conditions. He's sending it around these corners like there's no tomorrow. Believe it or not, like there's 8 minutes left in a race. So he's got a lot of confidence in that car, and he's really starting to close that gap now, and this is shaping up for a very, very nice battle. These two are still setting. They're so consistent with their lap times, especially Samuel Cruz, but also Eduardo Escoto. They're just extremely consistent, and they're setting pretty quick lap times compared to the rest of the field. The classic 2-car breakaway with a 28-second gap from third to second. And this is the closest Samuel Cruz has been for about the last half an hour here. We entered the stage when that rain started falling down, and we had about 10 lead changes in the span of 2 laps, and now Scotto has been driving the wheels off this thing, trying to keep it in first, but so has Samuel Cruz, and he's started to close that gap now. Will we see another lead change in this race? If it does, it's going to come soon, and there's only 7 minutes left, so he's going to have to make this move soon. He's starting to close that gap still, slowly but surely, and he might start getting affected a little bit by this dirty air from Cruz. And we see a few of those drivers on dry tires now getting into those 2:13 lap times. So all hope is not lost yet for the people on dry tires. It's that gap stretching a little bit out to 2 seconds now. The dirty air in these Mustangs is definitely a thing. It is they chuck up a lot of turbulent air behind them, being such big and powerful cars. So maybe Cruz having a little bit of trouble staying behind him here, but he is still powering on. 6 minutes left. Time is starting to run out, but we'll see. He'll gain a little bit through this section of the track where he's extremely strong. And then Josh Higgy in the pits again, maybe looking for those dry tires. Seeing some of those lap times start to come down as we see Pablo actually setting a 2-minute 11.432 on those dry tires. So they are definitely starting to be in that window. Of course, Daniel Nicholson on the wet tyres here. The M class leader at the moment, but not far behind him is Ericsson. About 4 seconds on the dot, 3.8 seconds behind, both on wet tyres, and see if Nicholson will be able to keep that lead or if Ericsson's going to power on, much like Cruz. And look at this, the 2 leaders in the pits now. And just what I said before, if we saw Scotto pit, I think we would see Cruz dive into the pits as well. And this race can be won and lost here into the pits. Don't go deep into your pit stop, into your pit box. And they're both up on jacks, so it looks like they're both taking dries, and they are. It's going to be easy for them to get out of their box because we see that pit lane is extremely wet. So we'll see who can get out of there the best. And we see now Scotto down on the Jackson. It's a bit of a long stop for Cruz there. And that's exactly what I was talking about. It can be won and lost in the pit lane. Samuel Cruz, not too sure what's happened there. Maybe taking a fast repair of some fuel. I'm not too sure on that. That Brandon Devine also jumping on ship, changing those tires over to dries into the pit lane. But it is not lost yet for Samuel Cruz because it's not going to be easy on these dry tires yet. But those times are definitely starting to drop now. Pablo Jaguar, 2 minute 10.6 last lap. So those dry tires are definitely in those windows, but it's not going to be easy, especially for these drivers on these cold tires. And we see Cruz just having a little bit more confidence almost in the tires now. Just even out of that, on that outlap, stretching that, closing that gap by about 2 to 5 tenths of a second. So if Samuel can maximize here, then we'll see. That truck, they must have seen something very promising to switch over to dry tires this late in the race. I'm surprised Samuel Cruz didn't take the gamble and stay out to get that track position over Cruz, over Scotto, sorry. But they both pitted, and there he is, about 7.2 seconds back now. Truck is definitely starting to dry up now, as that spray is almost not even a factor anymore for these cars. But it won't be easy on these dry tires. It's still a damp track. And it's going to be a slick track too. It's going to be greasy. And Cruz is slowly inching away at that 7-second gap low, down to 6.8 now. But it would be extremely difficult for him coming up to 2 minutes to go now to get that position. But you just never know. Yeah, and that dry crossover time has definitely now occurred with Pablo Jaguar right back into the 2 minute 7s. So they are definitely quicker now. Pablo is going extremely quick. He is hot lapping that car. So dry tires are definitely the call, but it is interesting going for it that late in the race where so much can be won and lost in the pit lane. And we have a look at Eduardo now. He will most likely be getting that white flag this time by, and Cruz did take a big chunk out of him this lap, so all's not lost yet, as Cruz will be driving the wheels off of this car at the moment, I believe, as he has been doing all race, but it will come down to this final lap now. As we approach with 20 seconds left in the session. Brings her around turn 17. A little bit loose on exit there. Yeah. believe this will be the white flag in the air. Yep, there we go. White flag in the air. Final lap of the race. 6 seconds behind is Samuel Cruz. We'll see if Eduardo Escoto can keep it on track here for the last little bit of the race on these dry tires on the stamp track, but they're definitely faster at the moment, with Eduardo going 2 minute 7.3 last lap. But Samuel Cruz did a 2 minute 6, so he is extremely fast at the moment. As we go through turn 7 for the last time. And Cruz is really, really driving the wheels off this thing. He doesn't care if it's the last lap or 5 laps to go. If he's 5 seconds back, he wants that win. But regardless, it'll be an extremely good points haul from this race. And look here with Brennan Eriksson, and he's going into the pits on the last lap of the race. Yes, you could be right there, Pix.
Yeah, maybe fuel.
It might be fuel related, because it'd be extremely unlikely to see someone pit for tires now. A quick splash and dash, I imagine, for Eriksson. He was looking like that was going to be a pretty close battle between them there, but Nicholson has managed to probably let out a sigh of relief there, as we see Eduardo with Cruz in the background go around 10, 17, and 18 for the last time, and then through the final corner in this Mustang, as well as Cruz. And Eduardo Escoto, congratulations to you, the winner of round 5 at Miami. He's extremely happy. And in the background, Samuel Cruz putting on a bit of a show as he crosses the line, drifting around that corner. But Eduardo Escoto, the best of the rest, up in first there with an extremely difficult race. He's managed to keep it on track, and that was the main thing of this race, was being safe in these conditions, as we see the many lead changes that occurred as Brandon Devine comes around this final corner now to take the checkered flag and rounds out the podium for Pro Class. Congratulations to him, as well as I believe that is Pablo Jaguaya behind, who set some extremely quick laps there at the end, so congratulations to him as well. And then here we go with David Griffin crossing the line in 4th, which will be a good points haul for him today, being 4th out of 7 cars. And then Josh Higgy being one of those cars. As we have a look at Nicholson now, coming around that corner, our AM class leader. And takes it around the corner very nice and slowly. Probably sounds like that car is chugging along, running on fumes right now. That car is extremely low on fuel.
But he made it.
Daniel Nicholson makes it to the checkered flag, and he's going to pull that thing over and call
That's
it
for
tow
position.
truck.
Woof.
And we see position there between Eriksson and Brandon Sigmund there. And that was extremely close. Look at that. 0.06 of a second between them at the line. One driver on dry tires, one driver on wet tires. So that was extremely close. Anyway, what a race. That was action-packed and amazing. Well, our race results for today's race then. Eduardo Escoto winning in wonderful fashion with 4.9 seconds to Samuel Cruz. Samuel Cruz in 2nd after an amazing race between those two, with Brandon Devine rounding up that Pro Class podium in 3rd. David Griffin in 4th there will be a good points haul for him. And of course, our M Class winner for today's race, Daniel Nicholson, followed by Brennan Eriksson and Billy Sigmon. A very close finish between those two, just 600ths of a second at the line. With Josh Hickey in 8th, Pablo Jaquire in 9th, and then Christopher Romero in 10th. All those drivers trying their luck staying on dry tyres, but unfortunately did not work out as they would thought. Well, that was quite a race, Pix.
Yeah, I'm trying to grab some drivers for interviews,
Yep.
so
Too easy.
let's give him a little minute. Meanwhile, we can thank our sponsors, Origin Micro, our main sponsors. If you're looking for anything for your business involving the computers, technology, equipment, hardware, etc., this is your place to go. And if you're looking for a call center, this can be your partner, Peacey Systems. Check them out. And finally, coaching services, setups, etc. Really good. Keep your eyes on them because they will have some news about their new setup and coaching models very soon. So let's see if we have someone ready to join us in the booth.
Amount of people in there. And we'll get them in there now for the interviews. But we'll start with Daniel Nicholson. Of course, congratulations to you for that M-Class win. Looks like a pretty crazy race out there, but looks like the aim of the game is to try and stay nice and safe and keep it on track,
the
which you
beginning of
did
the
pretty
race
well.
was very, very difficult. I was even thinking about like, this is not my race. I'm just gonna go home. But just keep running laps, and it worked out.
Yeah, 100%. It felt like we saw about 1 million lead changes there at the start up in the booth, so it really was never over till the checkered flag there with those conditions. But
yeah, especially with Ericsson, he got within like 1 second of me at the second last lap. I thought I was gonna lose it.
Yeah, 100%. How did the tires feel? Like, even on the wet tires, we saw a lot of people were really struggling with the conditions, with braking, especially in those cars. How was it on the wet tires there throughout the race?
So obviously when they're cold, very basically like you're still on slicks. But once they get up to temp, then you just back off your braking points, and then just don't hit the brakes as hard and back up your braking points. Then it rotates as normal. And then toward like maybe like 5 to 7 laps left, the tires were almost overheating. Definitely shot, so that's why I was just trying to hang on.
Yeah. Well, I mean, congratulations to you. That'll be a
Thank you.
extremely nice points haul for you for this race.
Yeah.
Any final words of thanks to anyone or you'd like to say?
No, I mean, appreciate. For the most part, everyone was pretty clean. I know a couple guys were running on dry tires for quite a while when the track was very wet, but they were very courteous with getting offline and letting us get through. The guys were on the wet tire, so appreciate that.
Yeah. Well, congratulations, and we'll see you next time.
Appreciate it. Thanks.
Awesome.
Hey,
Hello, Brandon.
it
How's
going?
you going? Congratulations on the P3 finish.
Yeah, thank you. It was definitely a bit of an interesting race. Like I was just saying to Eduardo earlier in the waiting room, I don't know what it is with the GT Champions races, but I'll go from being a midfield car in both practice and qualifying. Like I was down to 7th on one point, and then all of a sudden we get on the grid, and then I suddenly lock in and remember it's a race, and I drive like hell. But yeah, I was one of the first cars to pit. I definitely felt like a solid podium contender all day. I definitely wanted to try and lead some laps, but unfortunately, in the net lead spot, as they call it in IndyCar, I unfortunately slipped up because of my own doing. But, it is what it is. I just kind of bounced back, and I was kind of trying to pick up what I was able to try and pick up, and that ended up being a P3. And, that feeling of being in P3 and seeing the two in front of you stay ahead in P1 and 2, and they're within a second of each other, and I'm sitting there thinking, can they please slime each other out? I mean, can they please slime each other out? I was thinking that the whole way, but yeah, just happy to pick up a P3 right before we start the Sebring 12-hour tomorrow. That's going to be a lot of fun. Can't wait to try and get yet another podium at Sebring in the 12-hour tomorrow as well. So
Yeah, 100%. Well, I mean, thankfully there's not a huge chance of rain. Well, it's actually 0% chance of rain for Sebring tomorrow, but
yeah, I was gonna
it
say,
was definitely
yeah.
a very good call of strategy from you on those to pit early onto those wet tires, which ended up putting you in a very good spot there.
Yeah.
How quick was that like changeover from those from the dry tires to those wet tires early on? It looks like as soon as that rain started falling, it got extremely hard to drive very quick.
Yeah, like I was slipping and sliding everywhere. It also didn't kind of help that this is the first time I drove a GT car of any kind around Hard Rock Stadium here. Um, but earlier today I did at least do a USF4 race, and because the track temperature in the actual racing session for that is 130 degrees. I'm not sure what that is in your guys' system, but let's just say pretty effing hot. Um, so yeah, I was kind of used to sliding around at that point. Glad I got used to it. There were definitely some cracks in the mask, but like I said, able to just bounce back, keep it under control, and snatch myself a P3 here.
Hell yeah. Well, yeah, congratulations. That was a extremely good race from you. Very good strategy calls and a good P3 finish and a good point sole. Well, good luck for Sebring tomorrow. I know I'll be racing in it, so
Hey,
it
thank you,
will
man.
be a fun, interesting race. But yeah, good luck. And any last words you want to say? Thanks or anything?
Um, Well, I want to look into my web camera and say to everybody at home about to do the Sebring 12-hour prototypes, let's actually think things through before we pass a GT car. I don't care if it's a straightaway or the tightest corner on the track. Let's think things through. And GT drivers, let's use our mirrors. All right? That's it.
Couldn't sum it up better. I'm actually driving prototypes tomorrow, so I'll take that advice.
I'm doing attempts in both those classes, so I'm definitely gonna get the best of both worlds.
Yep. Oh well. Well, that is very good advice and congratulations. So good luck in that, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you, man. Good luck tomorrow.
Thank you. All right, and then I believe our last one is actually no, we have two more. We'll go with Samuel Cruz. Congratulations on the P2 finish, first of all. But
Appreciate it.
you were driving the wheels off of that Mustang at the end. That 8 second gap looked very like a very tall task for you at the end, and then it was down to I think about 1.4
Yeah.
near the end. So yeah, you were driving the wheels off that thing.
Oh yeah, I was like you said, driving the wheels off that thing, man. Just a couple unfortunate incidents, just either going deep or just some, lap traffic. But I know Eduardo was dealing with the same thing as well.
Mm.
Um, but yeah, it was challenging conditions, but I mean, I can't complain too much. I literally got the track about 5 hours ago, so finished P2. It's pretty solid.
Yeah, it looks like that was a lot of a very common theme. It's considering it's a extremely new track. Everyone's scrambling to get their practice in, and then the rain falls, and then it makes it 10 times harder. And then we saw that pit stop at the end.
Oh,
Were you always going to? Was that the plan? Because I know I mentioned it before in the race somewhere. I was like, he's in a good spot here because if he sees Eduardo pit, then he can be like, all right, sure, what have I got to lose? I'll pit here behind him. Was that always the plan there? And then maybe a little bit too late, do you think, with 2 laps to go, or?
Yeah, I think I'll see what Eduardo said if you asked him the same thing, but I was trying to fuel save. I knew I was just under. We were like, I think both of us, because we both came in and got the wet tires at the beginning at the same time. So I knew
Mm,
once I saw that I was like a lap under. I'm like, okay, probably so is he. And then
okay.
I don't know what happened in the pits. It went up. My uh iRacing pit guy said, go, and then he didn't let me go. He put that thing right back down. So yeah.
iRacing giveth and iRacing taketh. We love it.
hmm
So yeah, that pit stop was more actually because of fuel, was it?
Yeah. Yeah,
Okay,
I don't know
makes
what
sense.
he was doing, but I was trying to fuel save, but I couldn't do it. It was
Yeah, well, I mean, nonetheless, a P2 finish is a good finish if you ask me, and you were chucking down some extremely quick lap times in those conditions, sliding that car around some corners. So yeah,
Oh yeah.
congratulations to you, and any words of thanks to anyone before you head off?
I'll shout out you guys in the broadcast booth. Appreciate y'all taking the time out of your days to come watch us race and commentate on it, and then just shout out my racing team, Bendy Racing.
Hell yeah. Well, thank you for the thanks, and thanks for racing. So we'll see you next time, and good job with the P2.
Sounds like a plan.
Alrighty, and then that leaves us with the one and only our race winner for today's race, Eduardo Escoto. Congratulations to you.
Hello,
Yeah,
everyone. Thank you very much.
yeah. Well, P1's pretty good, and I think I'll just start it off right with the question that I asked Samuel just to see. So was that pit stop right at the end there? Was that because of fuel, or was the tire change a factor there?
Both in fact, because
Mm.
I thought that I was able to feel safe, but I found out a bit too late. And I was just needing perhaps 1, 2 liters. Then the track was getting drier, the car was getting lighter and thus faster. So that didn't help a lot with the fuel management. So at the end, it was a mandatory additional fuel stop with
Mm.
tire change for me.
Yeah, 100%. Well, I mean, it worked in the end, so P1 finish is a good finish. I mean, at the start of that race, it was looking extremely sketchy with all those cars going off track, and I mean, you were for a good bit of the start there. It was you were having to battle through those cars and get yourself into some clean air. What was the strategy sort of like for that sort of start of the race there? Was it more so just surviving through that wet patch of weather to the end and getting yourself in a good position, or?
Yes, at first, my idea was to either qualify first or third because I know that the outside of turn one is super sketchy. So when I got P2, I thought that, okay, I need to change my strategy. I have to survive. I expected to be bumped, and I received a little bump because it's natural. The car is super heavy, cold tires, all of that. Then it was just a matter of managing the car, see when was the right moment to stop for the wet tires. And that worked pretty much really well. I had no traffic there in the pit stops. No one spun in front of me. No one hit me in the additional laps. So I think that helped in the subsequent laps.
Yeah, well, I mean, you did keep it extremely clean there from that rain patch all the way to the end. So, and strategy was difficult, and you kept it clean even through those very treacherous conditions that it looked like. So, yeah, P1's really good, and congratulations. Got any
Thank you,
last
man.
thanks or anything?
Yes, thanks for my esports team, VRC. Also to my TikTok and Twitch chat, which were also broadcasting the race together with me, and also they even were helping me as race engineers at some point. So kudos and thank you for all of them, and to you for the transmission, the broadcast, and the race as well. Thank you.
Yeah, well, I mean, congratulations to Eduardo's TikTok and Twitch stream as well for getting him through it. Good job, guys, and we'll see you next time. Awesome. Well, yeah, good race, Eduardo, and we'll see you next time then. Thank you. Well, that was one hell of a race, wasn't it, Pix?
That was fun. That was fun.
Thank you, everyone. Take care.
Thank you.
All right. Gracias, Eduardo. Good job.
Gracias a ti. Thank you.
I don't know if we need to scold Chris on the weather or thank him because that was fun.
Yeah,
that was
Chris
crazy.
Chris
for
is
this
like,
track.
all right, here's this weather. I'm not going to be able to be here today, so enjoy
Yeah,
it.
exactly. Exactly. Yeah, that was
It's
fun.
realistic.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that was an amazing race, and yeah, wow, those cars looked extremely hard to drive, and I think everyone did an extremely good job out there. So, but yeah, I think we'll probably leave it there. You reckon, picks, and see you next
Yeah.
round. Yeah.
Yeah. Next week we go to one of our favorite places. Do you know where we're going?
We're going to Gilles Villeneuve. Oh, we are too. Good old Gilles Villeneuve. Round 6. We are going to our favorite track. That one will be an extremely fun race. We've seen the chaos that can happen around there, but a very good, much like this track, a very good combination of tight wall, like close walls and sweeping corners, but also a very long straight and spicy pit entry as well. So we'll see how that one turns out, but that should be a very exciting race. And I'm also eyeing up that round 7 there at Mount Panorama as well.
Oh yes. Yeah. Yeah,
That'll
well,
be
we're
fun.
ending with 2 very iconic trucks.
Yeah.
And
Free.
these cars, yeah, these cars don't race here at Miami, but they definitely do at Mount Panorama and Daytona. Maybe not at this exact Mustang, but you two guys, you guys do have some Mustangs that race in there.
Oh yeah, they did in the 12-hour. They had a Mustang that raced there, but it unfortunately got taken out by a kangaroo. So good luck to anyone that races there. Hopefully, a kangaroo doesn't jump scare you.
Yeah. All right. So as always, thank you, Oscar, for being here with us and subbing in for Chris. Excited to have you back with us.
Yeah, it's okay. Anytime. I love being here, and it's always a fun time, of course. So fun time, good racing, and yeah, it was a good race, and can't wait for the next one. Awesome. Well, thanks everyone for watching this amazing race, and make sure to head over to gtchampions.com to have a look at those sign-ups for the new series, which will be looking extremely fun. Then make sure to like and subscribe as well. But yeah, if you like the race, make sure you like and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.
All right. Thank you, Oscar. Bye, everyone.